Okay, okay. We are live. So hi everyone and welcome. Let me present my screen again. So today we're going to talk about, is career in software development right for you? And hopefully we are going to help you figure it out today or try to answer some of your questions. So let's start with a quick introduction. So Shachar, do you want to start?
Nice to meet you all. I'm Shahar. Which, by the way, in Hebrew, it's like the dawn, early morning. I'm an expert lecturer in R&D world, especially in the web development. And for the past 10, 12 years, I'm conducting boot camps and all sorts of courses to newcomers, mainly to those who want to get engaged in the first position. I'm also an expert lecturer for R&D departments, which is more deep courses to software engineers. Also, I'm a coach and a mentor, and I'm doing it for a long period of time. So this, as Limor said, this presentation should be sort of fun, okay, sort of out of the box presentation. And as Limor said, don't afraid to ask anything and to be engaged with us because it's for you. And hopefully we have a great time together.
Thank you. And let me do a quick intro before we dive in. So hi, everyone. My name is Limor. And my background is software engineering. I have been a software engineer and grew into leadership. Hi, Yana. Pleasure to meet you. And yeah, feel free, everyone, to introduce yourself in the chat box. You can feel free also to share your LinkedIn profile if you want to network, if you want to get this opportunity also to network. So my name is Limor. And I've been working in the tech industry for over 20 years. I've been leading teams and organizations. And over the last year and a half, I focused on my passion, which is supporting women and underrepresented talent to get into tech and to grow in tech. I partnered with Power to Fly and created a mentorship program. So feel free to check out on the Power to Fly website information about the mentorship program, which is aimed to support women and underrepresented groups in their career journey by signing them a mentor. And I partner with Shachar to create a training program to support women and underrepresented talent in getting the education and experience that they need in order to get into the tech roles. And enough about me, and let's just move on and start. So that's the big question. Do I have what it takes to become an engineer? And
What do you think?
Yeah, Shachar, go ahead.
Yeah, first question for you, or what do you think from your experience or from your knowledge? What do you have, or what it takes from your opinion to be an engineer? What do you think? Just throw out something. Good. Yeah. So this is why we're here. Let's move.
Math skills. So Prep is saying math skills.
Yeah, of course, math skills, but in what is math skills? Because do you have to be a professor in math? Do you have to be some in degree in math? What do you mean by math skills?
Prep is also saying critical thinking, and Yana is saying analytical skills. Letitia is saying collaboration, communication.
Yeah,
Just
great, great.
good things. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Okay, so Mariana is saying hopefully not needed to be a professor in math.
I can agree with that, of course.
Yeah, and Zoe said creativity. Mariana said team worker. All good things.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Okay, so
Result oriented, Yana is saying. Great stuff. I mean, really, I mean, you are point on. I mean, I think all the things you mentioned are relevant. So let's dive in, shall we? Problem solver, yes, Mariana. Yeah. So we just kind of listed high level because both of us work in tech and I've been hiring, right? I mean, and as a hiring manager, we look for more than just knowing how to code, right? And those are kind of the high level attributes that hiring managers are looking to have in developers. So obviously experience is one, right? They usually want to hire someone with experience and hands-on, you know, any real experience is a plus. Sorry, oh, what did I do? I'm doing this. Sorry. Out of the box thinking, right? You mentioned here. Yeah, go ahead, Shaka.
Yeah, let me say something about the hands-on experience, because maybe you look for jobs out there and you saw that everyone's just asking for experience, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. But real experience says that when you had hands-on experience, as we wrote, what does it mean, hands-on? It doesn't mean that you have to have a prior working experience in real company, okay? It means that you have hands-on experience, whether it's on open source projects out there. There are lots of open source projects you can join, maintain, maybe add features. You can build your own projects, project that can be shown to interviewer. So hands-on experience is said that you have to be trained, maybe by yourself or by others. It doesn't have to be just a real experience. Okay, just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. Do you want to go on or shall I?
As they told us, as they wrote, out of the box thinking, like let me just creativity, yeah, agility, innovation, because this kind of work we have to be innovative all the time and to solve problems in not the regular fashion, not all the time, but there are times that you need to be innovative about this. Really more.
Yeah, absolutely. And you already mentioned teamwork. Obviously, we know that people don't work on an island and don't work just by themselves. So at any company you're at, whether it's a very small startup or a large corporation, you usually work with other people. So obviously, teamwork is very important to collaborate with people, to be willing to accept feedback, to hear out other opinions. And because this work is a lot of creativity and innovation, a lot of times there is more than one way to solve a problem. And people, I was always looking for people who are not afraid to say what they think and share their opinions, but also are willing to listen to others and hear other opinions.
Yeah, so I can add up to that, as I said before, like open source projects you can join. This is teamwork, okay? It doesn't have to be real teamwork in a company if you don't have this opportunity right now. But you can team with some other projects and be part of it. It's a very good experience you can gain.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and of course you can test yourself with communication skills because you cannot do a solo project. You can do a solo project, but maybe all the features and all the product you are using are being developed by companies. And of course, companies have teams because one team is responsible for the representation of the product, and other team is responsible for the database in the backend. And there's all sorts of teams that team together to form these products.
Yeah. Yeah, self-learner. I mean, always we are looking for people who are not afraid to learn new things. And as you know, or may not know, technology moves pretty quickly. I mean, the world is changing every minute. And even if you master some technologies, you always have to learn new things. And even if you don't have any experience, but you have the attitude and willing to learn and not be afraid of challenges, this is the kind of things that hiring managers are looking for.
Yeah, I can say that I saw during my courses a lot of people that being taught one technology, and when they are hired, they have to move or learn new technologies on premise. So self-learn is in the core of being a developer. Don't be afraid of it. It's very fun. You can get the help you want and you need in the company, of course, yeah. But the overall responsibility is to be like atomic developer who is part of a team, part of the company, but can do himself, herself, or himself the job.
Shahar,
Which,
there
yeah.
is a question here from Mariana. Are there any open source projects that are lower level for beginners?
It's a good question because there are lots of open source projects out there. I think that a good course and a good theory will bring you to know if this project suits you. It's not a black and white answer. It's very it's very depends on the sort of experience you gain and the sort of open source project you are willing to join. But there are lots of interesting things out there. But there are projects. You just have to seek them. I think this relates to the last one, can-do attitude. We are talking right now about this one because whoever wants to join our open source project will do it eventually. Okay, so the can-do attitude is not just when you are working. It's the whole attitude of a developer that wants to be part of or wants to devote himself to this world, whether it's a company, whether it's open source, whether it's itself. There are lots of opportunities to impress the interviewer.
Okay, so let's move on to our first challenge. So we just want to stimulate you a little bit. I mean, it's not a test, obviously, but kind of wanted to emphasize by asking some questions that may help. So this is the question. You have two wooden sticks that each take exactly 1 hour to burn. And you have a lighter, which you can light one or both sticks at one or both ends, any way you desire. This stick will not break and you cannot measure them. The question is, how can you measure exactly 45 minutes?
So we'll give you a few minutes, 1 to 3 minutes with yourself to think about it. If you have any questions about it, so this is the time, but try to think about it. How can you measure 45 minutes with those wooden sticks?
Okay, let's check it out.
I see that Dana replied.
Oh, Dana replied, yeah.
He said, light one stick at both ends and the second at one end. This is a good start. Once the first one is burned out, 30 minutes will have gone by. Yeah. This is the time that you light the second stick at the other end. And if you realize that the other stick is let's say half an hour went by. So if you light it in the other hand now, it will burn twice. So it will be 15 minutes, addition 15 minutes. So good for you, Dana.
You got it. Yeah. So Dana, this is the answer. So basically, we just show it here. You start with lighting the first stick at the two ends and the second one only on one end. And when the first stick burns completely, it means that 30 minutes have passed. And then you light the second stick at the other end. And that's how you measure 45 minutes.
Yes, so this question, maybe it's simple or moderate in complexity, but it's just to show you that you can do things, I say out of the box maybe, but not in the regular manner. Okay, so you have to think a little bit in terms of logic terms. Okay. Do you like solving problems? This is the question. You mentioned math. Okay, so it's not really math. Okay, because you don't have to do equations and lots of things that school maybe taught you. Okay, but this is a kind of category of math, of course. Okay, because those problems are logic problems, and the fact that we are talking to the computer, and the computer is a logic machine, you have to realize that you can solve problems in one way, but there are some ways that more efficient or maybe can be done in newer or good way. So you don't have to be afraid of math. You don't have to be, as we said, a professor of math or with a degree of math. But you have to love the thing that math brings to our world, okay? So forget about school, forget about your teacher if they were bad. Mine were bad. My experience is I hated math when I was young. Not because math is not good, but the teacher weren't good for me. Later on, I found it that all the puzzles and logic problems I've been very attracted to, and it showed up lately in my life that it served me in the computer science. So if you like math in some sort of way, in puzzles, maybe Sudoku and all these puzzle softwares and programs you are using, so you have what it takes about this portion of abilities. But yeah, the last line is sum this up. Programming in general is solving problems. Okay.
By the way, I loved math in high school, and I had a very good teacher, so I was fortunate. And that's, by the way, that was one of the kind of motivations for me to go to computer science, because I knew that I was good at math and physics and chemistry. And so that can be one indication, but as Shachar said, it's definitely not the only indication. Problem solving is definitely, what you should be looking for. Yeah, so now we talk about complexity. So we know that we want to solve problems, but what about solving sequence of problems and solving something more complex, and how to solve it in an efficient way?
Yeah, so complexity is maybe a big word, but it's very simple to understand. Let's say you are starting your new project, okay, and this project expands in time, and you have to team with others to take it to the next level. So as you see complexity calls in, even in problems by themselves. You can solve it in one way, but you can solve it maybe even better in another way. So what is really complexity? This is the thing that bothers us, the developers, most of the time, because you have to realize that there are maybe lots of answers to a question, but maybe one, two, three of them will be more efficient by solving them than the others. So this is the thing that self-learning will bring you to find the more concise way to write the code or the solution. When computer science is now for how much? For 70 years now, 80 years, 100 years maybe. And there were times that all the algorithms ruled the world. And when technology evolved and the math also evolved, new algorithms replaced the old ones because they were more efficient and less complex than the old ones. Let's give it another try.
Okay, so we have another challenge for you.
Let's play a game with the Jean. Okay. Nice to meet you, Jean. She have picked a number between 1 and 32. So you can ask her for that number. Okay. Each time you are guess the number, she'll tell you if your number is greater or lower than hers. So what is the maximum amount of question you'll have to ask her in order to find the number she chose? Let's take 2 minutes to think about it. Okay, Yana wrote 31 questions. Leticia wrote 5. The opposite, sort of. So what Leticia actually says that no matter what number the genie chose, the maximum amount of question to the genie would be 5 at the topmost. Interesting. So this is the thing we talked about, the complexity. Okay, so one algorithm will be maybe 31 questions at topmost, but the other one can be 5. So let's see how Leticia was correct. This is the range of numbers, 1 to 32. Let's say, now take it back, Lemon, one step. Okay, so let's say that if, let's say that a genie chose the number 21, okay? What we will do is ask her about the middle of the range. So the middle of our range is like 16. So I'm asking the genie, is your number is 16? And she'll tell me, no, it's higher than that. So what I should do is know that if it's higher than 16, I can avoid the lower range. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, no, take it
Oh.
one. Yeah. So now we have another question for the genie. And the same thing goes now again. I'm choosing the middle of this. It's now 22. And I'm asking her, no, not 20, 24. And I'm asking her whether it's 24. And she tells me, no, it's lower. So I'm avoiding the higher range. And now we are also in the middle. Now it's number 3. Is it 19? And she said, no, it's higher. So I'm avoiding the last range. And now I'm going to the middle. Again, is it 21? 4 questions. Okay. So what does it mean? What does it mean that, as you saw, we can do it in maximum 6, it's not 5, it's 6. Actually, we are dividing our range all the time, okay? So we are leaving out half of the range all the time. So it's a multiplication of 2 all the time. So 32 by chance is 2 powered by 6. This is 32. There's just a little math about it, but if you divide the range all the time, you get the maximum of 6 questions. But let me ask you one further question. If I have a range of, let's say, 1,000, and the genie is picking a number in the range of 1,000, can you tell me what is the maximum amount of questions now? From 1 to 1,000. I'll tell you, it's 10. Maximum 10 questions and you get the right number. Okay, very, very efficient. This is by the way, called the binary search algorithm. So as you saw, efficiency is a core concept in our world. The ability of solving the problems in general is good, of course, but is your solution efficient enough? Okay, let's try another one, the last one. This is very nice. I think in the last holiday, I asked my family about it. It was very nice, very fun. You can try it at home. Let's say that 5 ladies come to a river at night. Okay, this is a narrow bridge. It can hold up to 2 people at a time, and they have a torch, one torch. Okay, because it's night, the torch must be used when crossing the bridge, whether it's for the one side or to the other one. So every lady has its own speed. The first one can cross the bridge in 1 minute, the second one in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 and 12. So when 2 people cross the bridge together, they move at the slower person's pace, of course. Okay, so if you are crossing the road with your grandma, you can't run, of course, you are in the speed of your grandma. So what is the minimum total time needed for the group to cross?
What's the minimum time? Yeah.
Yeah. So you have 5 ladies that should cross to the other side. And it always can be up to 2 ladies in one crossing.
Zoe asked if it's 18. I think it's higher.
Yeah, I think it's too low. They can't.
Dana asked if it's 25. We'll soon find out.
Yeah. So
yeah, let's jump to the answer.
before we see the answer, I think that because Lady A is 1 minute, the obvious solution will be that Lady A will take every one of the others to the other side. She'll go with B and return, and go with C and return, D return, E return, and this will be 31 minutes. But is it a more efficient way, as Dana stated? So yes, 25 minutes is the right answer. Let's move on. So this is like, this is like a little of trick question, but it's yeah. The thing here that maybe you can concentrate for a minute in the crossing now, and you see that there is that D and E are crossing together. So the trick here is that D and E, which are the slowest ones, can cross together, and some more speedy one will return back. And so 8 and 12 is just 12 minutes. We spared 8 minutes. So efficiency, we had complexity, of course, but efficiency. So as you see that we can solve problems in some sort of ways, but efficiency is taking a big part in here. And you can think of efficiency like urgency. You can say to yourself, so what? So 5 minutes longer, 6 minutes longer, 31, 32, 33 minutes compared to 25. Okay, so what? But you have to, what if the units are days, maybe years? Not across the bridge. The problem itself is just like a template of other questions. And if the units are days, you can spare yourself a week. If it's a year, it could be a spare you a week. So the units are very important here. And you have to understand that in computers, 1 second, okay, it's like a lifetime of a human being. The computer can calculate in 1 second so many things that any fraction of a second can count. So you can think of efficiency like urgency. As urgent you can be, more efficient it will be.
Yeah, I think we already mentioned teamwork, right? I mean, here we kind of challenge you with solving a problem by yourself, but obviously, I mean, no one works alone. And anywhere you'll go to, you will work as a team, because a team, you know, it can be to solve a problem quicker, or it could be that a team have different people with different skills, different experiences, different background. Like it could be a team with front end, back end, database developers. So obviously you usually don't work just by yourself.
Yep. But why is the complexity is crawling in with teamwork? We can maybe give another example, last one. Just an example. Yeah, think about digging a tunnel. Okay, so here in Israel, we built a tunnel 10 years ago when 2 teams joined together in the middle of the mountain. And so it has to be a real team combined effort, of course. But it's very obvious, and you stated it, of course. But as we mentioned before, you should be experienced with teamwork. Okay, maybe you realize how teamwork is done, but the experience of being inside of a team is very important.
Yeah, I think we've done challenging you for today. think we can go to Q&A now, and feel free obviously to connect with us, to email us, to look at the website, and to ask any questions you have.
Yeah, we'd love to hear you. Don't be shy.
I have a question. I'm Leticia Garcia. My first question, I have a bunch of questions actually, but my first question is, what's the stress level in a SWE?
Depends on you.
I think it depends also on the company, right? I mean, it depends on the environment you're at. Obviously, there are companies that work in very high pace and have a lot of demands on finishing in very tight deadline, which adds to the stress. Also, obviously, you know, when you are new, you have more stress because you know less and you need help. So it really depends on the company you work with.
Yeah, of course, that as the company gets bigger, you have less responsibility. And as you are one of 5 person in some startup, of course, the higher the demand are. But it's if the company is embracing you, I had the chance to be one of, in my early days in startup, I was one of 6 people there. It was maybe a little bit stressing, but it was very fun. And I've been taught lots of things there. And it was very intimate. Okay, if you will be part of a bigger company, maybe you'll be less responsible of many things, but you'll be with, you know, the usual work as you see out there. So it depends on you, of course, and the companies which will be hired on.
You mentioned you have several questions, Leticia, so we're happy to answer more.
I've heard it both ways. Software engineer versus software developer, is that like, are they the same title or are they completely different roles? I've heard it both ways. Does it just vary between companies?
I think each company have probably its own terminology. Also, even software engineer, I would say it's very generic because there are different focus areas, right? There are front-end engineers, there are back-end engineers, there are database engineers. So there are a lot of different level of expertise also. But I think, you know, developer or engineer are pretty much equivalent.
Yeah, it's different than basically. I think that maybe maybe you're confused with a degree, okay? It's not related, okay? So some companies will want you to be in some degree, if it's computer science or any related. Maybe they call it engineer, but the term engineering and the software development is equivalent.
All right, sounds good. So let's say, you know, we either get into a software engineer role and then we find out it's not for us. What are some alternative positions we can go for? Maybe like positions that collaborate with them, but like, you know, you still want to be in the realm of them, but you know, that position itself is just not for you.
I mean, there are a lot of options. For example, you can go into product. So product managers are different, you know, are people that work very closely with the engineering team to define the product roadmap, define the requirements, work with clients, and a lot of times, I mean, I've seen cases where product managers used to be engineers. In many companies, product manager requires a lot of technical know-how. Other options are being like a project manager, program manager, scrum master. Any other, you know, role, QA could be any roles that are kind of interacting with software engineers or require or advantages to have a technical background.
Yeah, I saw during my way that a lot of people has shifted from position 1 to 2. Maybe they didn't like the deep software development and like the UX and UI, which is developing the presentation logic of the product and vice versa. So you have lots of options there. I
We
see
have a
that
question,
Zoe,
yeah, we have a question from
sorry.
Zoe. Yeah,
Yeah.
what programming language is common to learn first with software developers?
There is none. Whichever you choose, it will be good. So because whatever you choose, no matter whether it's Python, JavaScript, Java, C Sharp, whatever, you'll find the same thing we spoke about it there. Okay, so if you now um, surfing about to fly, okay, it could be built with .NET, C Sharp, maybe Java, maybe JavaScript, maybe Python. It could be, but at the bottom line, everyone uses the same techniques, and the tools are different. So if you ask me where to start, I will be starting with the most popular ones. JavaScript, Python, those are my favorites.
You're welcome, Zoe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any
Yeah. That. Yeah. Nothing. Maybe we answered all your questions. So good. It's also good. Okay.
Yeah, so Yana said, so we are already busy with Python.
Uh, Already busy with Python? Sorry.
Can you elaborate, Yana?
Yeah, I meant
Ah,
it's like it's for me. Yeah, hello to everyone. Yeah, I meant it's
Yeah,
for me because like actually when I saw no when I thought actually before this seminar that it's more like for QA engineers because I'm planning actually to work like a tester. So like QA engineer, yeah. So it's more like not developer. So like
okay.
this one. And what I found out that it's for QA, yeah, it's better to study Python. It's easier, we can say, yeah. And now it's a lot of opportunities also to use Python, I mean, but it's more for test automation, if I understood correct.
quite. It can be for test automation, but Python is general purpose language. You can do lots of things. You can build websites, you can do algorithms, you can connect to databases, you can do machine learning. Python is general purpose language. And most of the language out there are general purpose. You can do lots of things with them. Some of them are focused on things that they are built for, like R or F. There are some, but Python, you can do anything with it.
Yeah, now it's a lot of functions actually. Yeah, it's like you can write your personal program and then add it to bibliothèque, like library, yeah, and then use it later. So it's
Yeah.
really common and
And
yeah.
what you just said, you can do in lots of other language.
No, it's like first one I would like to study Python and then Java or JavaScript. It's like it's in my plans.
Great.
Yeah, don't be confused with the Java and JavaScript. They are not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. I know. So I am still like I'm thinking. We'll see how it will be in the future. Yeah, which one will be more useful for me? I can say it depends on the company where I'm going to work. I think.
You're in the right path. Python and you mentioned JavaScript. As I said, both are the first one.
So we're just about, a 1 minute after. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. We have the contact information here. Feel free to contact us. And next week, actually, we're going to be speaking at the summit, at the Power to Fly Summit. And I highly recommend you, if you haven't signed up yet, sign up to the summit. There are a lot of amazing talks. There are networking opportunities. There's a virtual job fair. So definitely join us next week. And thank you all for joining today.
Thank you very much.